Wir haben hier Kathia heute mit dem Talk.
We have Kathia tonight
Welchen Einfluss
with the talk,
Form der Dinge durch Gestaltung der Praxen.
How is it the same?
Strukturen. Ich freue mich schon riesig darauf.
I'm extremely excited
Performance.
about this performance, and thank you very much that you are here, and I will give it over to the speaker.
Hallo.
Hi. Hi. Hello, hello.
Ja. Ich wollte jetzt sagen, ihr seid gerade...
So, welcome to the English translation of Wie wird gleich? How is it the same? By the speaker Kathia, live from 38C3. All talks at Congress are live translated between English and German and to one additional language. We appreciate your feedback. Please use the hashtag C3Lingo, hashtag C3Lingo. Your translators for this talk are Molito and Kitsune.
Und ich bin aufgeregt.
I am excited because I'm doing some multitasking, but I'm happy that you're all here. I'm Kathia, and I want to talk to you about design, because I think design is for all of us. It's fair to let you know where my knowledge comes from. I studied theatrical direction. I've done a lot of stuff here in Chaos. I was working artistically. I've traveled a lot. I worked with a collective called Spielberatung, play consultation. I worked in Köln about theater. We studied and taught adult education and programming in connection with design.
Expected self-efficacy. Ich übersetze das selber. Expected self-efficacy ist was...
Expected efficiency. And then we will see what happens. On the slide, it says start, experience. OK button. But I decide. Okay.
Ich beobachte und ich gehe davon aus, dass
I observe and I assume that everything is connected.
wie sie gestaltet ist, uns beeinflusst und wie
The world, the way it's designed, has an influence on us, and the way that we talk, the way that
wir haben alle Einfluss aufeinander
there is an entertainment,
und auf unsere Umgebung und wie wir sie wahrnehmen.
has an influence on us and the way that we perceive the world and our environment.
Oh, verschrieben.
Oh, I spelled something wrong. Wie wird gleich in German translates to how will we be the same? Or how will we be equal?
Or how will we soon?
Possibly, nee, ist wieder an. Top. Wie wird gleich, so wie wir jetzt
How will be soon?
unsere nahen Zukunft
The way we design now, our near futures will be the way we design them now.
meiner Forschung und
In my research and in my observation,
Begriff geprägt,
I formed
Activating Environments nenne.
a term that I call activating environments.
Und darüber möchte ich sprechen.
And this is what I want to talk
Und es
about.
kann sein, dass ich das zwischen
And it might be that
weil ich habe da schon viel drüber
it might become much in the meantime because I thought much about it, but I invite you to follow me. In my research, I gained some examples and numbers which I want to
Sprache,
talk to you about.
aktuelle Räume,
Environments can be architecture,
Software, die wir gestalten
language, and software.
und die wir nutzen.
This is what I want to talk to you about, the rooms we stay in and the software we use. I noticed that they're activating and passivating environments. Activating, if you're imagining that you want to play a game and you look at the rules, and the logic that should explain the game to you is not consistent. On one point, it tells you a rule that conflicts with another, and your experience ends up being inconsistent. The experience in front of you doesn't make sense to you. There's no logic. This will happen to most people. Many people that work in company procedures know these things, these fuck-ups. For example, half-implemented processes where something starts but doesn't end. A passivating environment, from my experience or my observation, is where I don't feel participated, where it shows me that I shouldn't be here. Maybe it shows me some things that I would have been addressed, but it has a consistent. I can read it, I can behave to it, and I can see other people, and that's particularly activating to me if I see other people and see that they've done something there. And now I brought a pretty picture. Okay. So let's assume that they're activating and passivating environments, and now let's think about where we live. We live in capitalism. Here we have things like the seat for mom and the seating for everybody who is waiting for food. And because I want to talk about language, I can change this to dad, like mom to dad, and then I can make providing person out of that. And then I might be thinking about who that should be, maybe. Now, when we look at this as a game, and imagine that we are in a game experience, then in capitalism we have the problem that design has its goal to make us to consumers. We are formed by a design that makes us imagine that we don't have to think with things and does things for us, so we don't need to be as active.
Good. We're going to take a quick break to come up for some air. We're designing environments. Environments design us.
Wenn euch das nicht neu ist, dann möchte ich natürlich nicht klugscheißen, sondern euch nur daran erinnern, wenn ihr das schon wisst.
Even if you already know this, I just want to remind this.
Danke. Ja, sag Bescheid, wenn das passiert. Danke. Wir gestalten Umgebungen und Umgebungen gestalten uns.
We designed environments and environments design us. I speak languages and my example is a language. The human describes a horse, or a horse describes the human. Those are two different worlds.
Ein Hochstatus und ein Tiefstatus, das sind Begriffe aus dem Theater.
And from there are two types, the high status and the low status. The high status is with me when I say, the horse allows me to ride it even when it goes through a space and has fear. From the chaos, the angel, beautiful word, imagine that they were called something else, just helpers. And then what do you think about them? Then you think about them as just helping and always being there and just doing stuff like a contract. But angels sound nice, and angels are also humans, and that's really, really nice. Angels are nice. So if we go back to a high status and a low status, and I say, I have the highest status when I'm honest, which is important when you're in theater, when you're in activism, that it's important to be honest.
Nobody's perfectly certain what's happening, but some people learned that they need to trust their first observations and speak them up. Some people learned it, others didn't. And if you speak up, it makes you stronger. But we were taught the opposite.
Das hätte ich gerne als T-Shirt.
I would like to have that as a T-shirt. Strong enough you are to be honest.
Ein anderes Beispiel auf meinem Zettel sehe ich gerade.
I have another example. Not only what we say, but also how we say it designs the world for us and others. If I'm asked something and I don't know it and I just say yes, then it makes the situation uncomfortable for the two of us. To me, because I lied, and the other person because they will find out later. And it may be really strengthening if you're honest and say, I don't know, if you actually don't know it. Design this appreciating a culture for one another. Think about which words you use, how you speak them, and how you treat one another.
Kleine Pause für C3 Lingo, weil ich jetzt auf Englisch schreibe.
Quick pause for C3 Lingo because I'm writing in English.
Oder so eine Mischung. Complexity.
Or some kind of mix.
Der hieß Klarheit ist eine Waffe. Ich bin total
Complexity. There's a talk called Clearness is a Weapon, but I'm all for complexity.
zu erzählen, dass die Sachen einfacher sind, dass sie
We're permanently being told that we want to make things simple because production needs to be made simpler.
passieren und zum Beispiel
And every time I want to talk about complexity,
Kommunikationspraxis zu sagen,
an emancipatory practice,
Begriffe benutzen, haben wir das?
do we want to use this word?
Wäre es eigentlich
Do we have this word?
Orte, wo diese Begriffe benutzt werden und
Is it okay?
auffällt,
But there's so many other words that could be used that
verwurzelt sind in der Logik und
maybe don't have any meaning and don't have any roots.
Danke.
Thank you. You too.
Jetzt habe ich ein Rätsel.
So now I have a puzzle for you. What is being written on the screen in German? Je deterministischer das Schild, the more deterministic the sign is, desto blank die Leute. Therefore,
Es ist auch gut, dass ihr
fill it in with the people.
dachte, in eurem Gehirn passiert jetzt so dieser Vorgang, dass ihr darüber nachdenkt, wie komme ich denn jetzt darauf, da dümmer einzusetzen? Macht mich das Schild klüger, weil da eine Stelle offen ist?
Thanks for thinking about looking at this.
Ja, die Frage
You can think of all kinds of things to put in the blank that makes it more stupid or more clever.
oder möchtest du es erschaffen? Und verbietest du etwas oder gibst du die Info weiter, warum es gefährlich ist?
Does something exist, or do you want to create it by speaking of it, or are you creating something, or are you hiding that something might be dangerous?
Architektur.
Architecture. So let's talk about architecture. How's my time? Okay.
Architektur ist das zweite
Architecture is the second topic I talked about. It has a lot to do with what we used to, like you can see on the image.
eine andere Welt gestalten wollen, im Kapitalismus aufhalten.
The more time people spend in a world where they are
Und irgendwann werden
not connected with other people, the more they will consume and the stronger they will do it.
sie nach, was auf den Schildern steht.
I'm already thinking that the youth of today is only doing what it says on the signs.
Architektur ist es so,
In architecture,
und das kennt ihr alle, dass es von der Gewöhnung und von einem kulturellen Hintergrund abhängt, was
it depends on what you're used to and your cultural background, how I read something, and I often don't notice how it affects me. If I see a table, a countertop, I go there and assume that other people will line up. So I should build a counter if I want people to line up.
vor vielen Jahren im Chaos mal so ein Möbeldesign gewesen.
This had been a chair design, and the chaos, you could sit on it alone or together.
Zusammen an dem runden Tisch sitzen.
If you build a round table, you can add you can sit together, but the amount of people are limited. If we enable the ground seating, people can sit close together, but it might be bad for tall people or people with back pains because they can't sit on the floor as easily. What we can do at chaos with our rooms is make them easily clean upable. If a room isn't clean upable, you can be angry at the people that they should have cleaned up. Now, my favorite meme: stop blaming yourself or others, learn Feng Shui and blame the furniture. Lost in the room. A mini anecdote: last year on the camp, my favorite place on the camp last year was a place where there was an automatic bottle drop point, and above it there was a sign where it said, "This is not a bottle drop point." You could have changed the sign to say, "This is a bottle drop point," but it was my favorite place at the camp last year. Beware of consumerism on a sign. I feel with architecture it's really easy to think about and understand it. We do it at Chaos. We create rooms to self-administer and we explore them because most the rooms we stay in are public and formed by capitalism. They inherently tell us that we should consume and order things, and you can play that on and on. What I find important about this is how does anti-capitalistic design look? How does it look? How hard is it to think about how can we practice a different way of living together? We only create counters. Design isn't only, I think about how it should function and somebody else makes it pretty. You might know this from coding. It's not about decoration, but it's about design and how you should act, like suggestions how you should act, and language is recommendation for other people.
Was willst du?
What do you want to prevent from taking place? We don't want to wonder about that. We want to think about what do you want to enable. Now my favorite example is coming up. So, a very practical example. How do we do it with a clever design and the reflection and so on? What's normal to me is written in, and my intention is being felt by the people who use it. You probably know the situation where everybody needs a marker, but there's only one. And what do? You connect the marker to a string, so it can't be taken away. If my focus now is that the marker can't be taken away, if we don't want it to have it taken away, we connect it to the bottom part of the pen. And I'm taught not to take it away as much because I can't take it away. And if we want to have it most freely circulatable, we connect the cap and I can use it freely, and in the end I'm looking for the cap and that's where I'll end up putting it.
Ich mache das. Da bin ich wieder.
There I am again, and we focus on the cap of the pen. Yeah, I'm not always focused on the right thing when I'm doing design, but at some point I finally decided that the good idea was to attach the string to the cap. That way the pin can be moved everywhere. It's really important to figure out what's right and what's wrong. There's definitely a wrong way to do tonic. First the tonic water, then the alcohol, and then the ice.
Logischerweise
If you do it the wrong way, then
das ist
everything splashes against the ice.
Rocket Science.
It's not rocket science,
Überlege und denke,
but when I
das
think,
machen habe ich noch nicht gemacht. Was ist daran wohl wichtig? Ah ja, das Schwere zuerst.
I want
Das
to
ist ja
do this, and I'm not sure, so I'll do the most difficult at first.
auch zu diesen naheliegenden Schritte rauszufinden, wenn ihr an die Sache herangeht, mit so ein bisschen Suchen, mit so, vielleicht gibt es da was ich rausfinden kann.
And that's the way most people go about having problems. Maybe there's something that I can find out about it.
Den Stift habe ich euch gezeigt, mein Lieblingsbeispiel.
I showed the pen to you, my favorite example. I also told you that your narrative of world is writing in 10 minutes. That's perfect. Okay, thanks.
Eure Vorstellung von Welt,
Your imagination of world
eure Motivation,
writes itself in. Your motivation in design writes itself in.
Sprache haben
If we take a look at what languages, we already talked about that,
Architektur,
plus architecture makes what?
Software.
Software.
Darüber will ich jetzt am Ende nochmal sprechen.
That's what I want to talk about in the end.
Wir gestalten viel Software und
We design a lot of software and lots of people use it.
Leute, die virtuelle Räume gestalten.
Especially here, there are lots of people who create virtual rooms and who have a lot of opinions on the virtual rooms that a lot of people use currently. I brought an example. You're being asked by a house project,
Software schreiben.
can you write us a cool door software where everybody can get access, like some people, for example, the room and the basement and the hack space on different numbers.
Admin-Bereich,
So you do that, and in the admin panel,
die Admins sehen können.
there's information that only the admins can see, like how many doors are there, how many accounts are there, and all the PIN codes. So the PIN codes shouldn't be public.
Und wie viele Menschen in das
So how many doors there and how many people are there tends to be an interesting information.
zu programmieren.
So you come up with the idea to make the plenum view.
Steht Türen,
It's just an overview where you see how many doors there are, maybe
Leute.
having them listed as well, and people.
Idee, und weil ihr wisst, dass
And you come up with the idea,
Worldbuilding-Angebote sind,
and because you know that
und unterhaltet euch mit
your design is
fragt ihr, ob die
an offer for world building, you build
das
it
Plenum,
and
da ist
ask the
eine neue
plenum.
Person und die sieht die Türen und denkt, geil, wir haben Lötzimmer.
So
Das wusste ich gar nicht.
there's a person that sees the doors and learns that there's a soldering room, for example. So in your design, in your admin view, you can create world views and experiences like leftist utopias. The impulse that more different people should create software, you probably know it already. I don't have enough time for the matrix example you can ask me later about.
Den Diskurs verschiedene Perspektiven.
The discourse on different perspectives that design software you probably know. You probably also know the discussion around notifications. You can also call it interruptions. It's already an old hat. But I find it interesting. What are we reminded about and what pops up for us? It could look like your friend seems to be pretty quiet. Wanna leave a message?
Mir würde das total helfen, wenn meine
So this would help a lot if my friends would be notified if I haven't said anything in 5 days and they just text me. And it could look like this.
weil wir jetzt das Thema Social Media dadurch
And about the topic social media, which we are reaching into,
machen, dass
I find very important that we made politically strong. We don't need censorship, but different architectures.
Zensur rumzuspielen.
If we start
Haben wir noch 2, 3,
playing with censorship, we only have a few years until other people start playing with the censorship. And in my opinion, censorship isn't the right way.
So, back to Quest.
Back to Quest.
Worum geht's jetzt?
What's the matter now?
Darum, wie wir auf diese Ideen kommen. Ich weiß es
It's
auch
about how we get to these ideas. I don't know it either. I haven't reached this knowledge either and these ideas. But some interaction with the world
Und was wir
brought
hier machen,
the ideas to me.
mit anderen Leuten,
For example, deep learning view. And what we do and what we hopefully do with other people is creating interaction rooms, world building and designing for each another, which makes us think of these ideas and also practice them.
so eine Sache,
Because just having ideas, it's a simple thing.
falls euch der noch nie
Memetics is a simple term for it, if it might not have occurred to you. I believe in it. 5 minutes left.
Fazit.
To sum it up. Summary.
Ich mal erst das Titelblatt fürs Fazit.
I'll first design the front page for the summary.
Danke.
You can make difference.
Passt gerade eben so rein.
Nice, it fits nicely.
You can make difference.
You can make difference.
Wir produzieren
You produce and you reproduce a lot. Me as well. I also reproduce a lot of things in the kind I talk and the way you're sitting there.
Da liegt ganz viel Kraft drin. Es liegt
There's
ganz
lots
viel
of
drin, was wir für
power in that.
gestalten.
A lot of power in that we create world for one another.
Pädagogischer Vortrag.
And this was a very strict pedagogical talk for us. And I want to invite you to hedonism, to have fun with each other and play with one another, because playing gets us to these ideas as well. But I also want us to take a strong look at ourselves. Fascism, we shouldn't deal about on ourselves, but there's a big power in that, because lots of people don't have the possibility. For example, like there's an angel next to me and it's in the right place in the right time. And we're all together here and people unite. And it's about reflecting critically how we want to live one another, how to reflect and think about how we want to build structures when we go out there and are NPCs to others. We are the NPCs for one another, non-player characters. And it would be great if we had the game experience move towards a good life for everybody else.
There is no game.
There is no game, there's world building.
There is world building.
Ich hoffe, dass ich damit eure Selbstwirksamkeit
I hope that I was able to satiate your expectations,
ich weiß auch,
and I think you can.
aber ich weiß,
I know that not everyone can do that,
dass es ganz wichtig ist, dass wir nicht alle alles können müssen. Es müssen nicht
and it's okay that not
gestalten können.
everyone can do everything. Not everybody has to be a great designer. It's not that everyone has to practice great design, but to understand what's inside of it and to ask, what can the others do? And
Können wir da, glaube ich, was reißen? Und können wir
could we reach something together and give strength and give hope, and in the environment maybe have some great ideas that you can present and share?
die male ich
I have only one last slide, and I'm going to draw it for you.
Oh, schon wieder verschrieben. Gleich, interessant. Das ist echt ein... Also, wir gestalten das gleich. Nein, wir gestalten unterschiedlich.
We all design the same? No, we all design differently.
Wir gestalten Zukunft.
Okay, we design the future
Zusammen.
together.
Das machen wir eh. Also, lasst es uns...
That we do anyways, so let's do it awesomely.
Okay, danke schön.
Thank you. Thanks for listening to the English translation of Wie wird gleich? How will it be the same? At 38C3. Your translators were Kitsune and Molito. We appreciate your feedback. Please email us at hello@c3lingo.org or use hashtag C3lingo on Mastodon.
Okay, vielen Dank an Kathia für die
Okay. Thank you to Kathia for this wonderful performance. And now we're going to go forward onto the Q&A.
diverseste Kameras. Ich sehe eine Person an.
I see someone on camera number 1.
Bevor ich zu der Frage komme, möchte ich Danke sagen für diesen strengen, aber liebevollen
Before I come to the question, I would like to say thank you for the wonderful
was Sie tun können.
lecture and presentation, and we need more people that can be honest and pedagogic, and I want to say thank you very, very much for that.
Annehmen.
Thank you for taking it in.
Ganz
And the question is, can you say something about this matrix example?
Matrix ist ein Protokoll,
Okay, matrix is a protocol,
Kommunikationsprotokoll, so
communications protocol, decentralized messenger.
vielleicht auch nicht.
Maybe you know some people, maybe you don't.
Vor ein paar Jahren
And I found it really interesting. And a few years ago, I decided to create my own communication environment there. And we have a lot of people now and had a lot to do with Matrix.
also es gibt Accounts.
And then on Matrix, there are these, you have two things. You have accounts and you have rooms. And then at some point you have communities.
Und ich war total geflasht und ich dachte, geil, da ist die Software ist ja total so, wie ich die Welt erlebe.
When they're together, it makes a community. And so how cool is that? The software is exactly how I want things to be in real life.
Und dann habe ich später herausgefunden und ich weiß
And
nicht,
then
ob
I
es heute noch so ist,
create a community,
ein Admin geben kann für die
and
Community.
I don't know why it is this way, but then I realized there's only one admin per community, and you can't have more than one.
Wo es genau eine Person gibt,
And then I knew immediately that this had to have come out of the software
kommt in die Software
area because there's only one admin.
und gäbe ist, dass, also jetzt lehne ich mich vielleicht zu weit aus dem Fenster.
And
Kurz,
okay, maybe I'm going a little bit on the side here.
das ist total problematisch, weil ich konnte die Admin
Something that's problematic for me,
mit anderen Leuten diese Aufgabe teilen, die Community zu verwalten. Und mich hat
it would be nice to share this task of being an admin with more people in the community,
ob das heute noch so ist, aber es
so
war
that I can say
ein Glitch für mich.
I have a community. I don't know if it's still this way, but
Und schön, dass ihr alle da seid.
for me this is a glitch.
Meine Beispiele
And
haben euch Insights gebracht.
thank you. It's nice to hear that my examples were able to give some insights. Thank you for that feedback.
Ja, vielen
Yes, thank you. Definitely.
Alle Menschen, die wirklich noch Fragen haben. Ich schaue noch einmal kurz nach oben zu den Signal Angels.
For anyone else that might have questions, I'm going to have a look at the signal angels.
Ganz lauten, großen Applaus.
No more? So then, thank you. I'd like to ask for a huge applause for Kathia. Thank you.
An? Ist das noch an? Ah ja.
Is it still on, the microphone?
Dankeschön.
Thank you. And I'm so excited and happy when you enjoyed this, and I'm really happy to hear any feedback and any thoughts you have, and I wish everyone a great Congress.